Your sense of how they came back yesterday, and do you just go same thing you've been doing all
Yeah.
season?
Well, I mean, as far as the organization, it's the same, but obviously, you have some different conversations after a game like that. And it's all of us in the building. I mean, from the strength staff in the weight room to the training room to all our meeting rooms. So things are said differently, and we're going to try to get better. We're going to look at what we did bad and get them corrected. And sometimes when you come in on Sundays, players got to have thick skin. They got to be able to take the coaching and know what we're trying to do is make them a better team and better individual players. So yeah, the structure is going to be the same, but when you come back, obviously the corrections, the mental part is going to be a little different.
They've been really resilient all season. Any reason to expect that it would be any different?
Well, I don't think so. I think the guys will come back. Listen, Sundays practice. We talked about the system of that we chart the exertion, how much they put out in practice. It was one of the better Sundays putting out wise. So hopefully it lit a fire under them. And to know that they're going to come out and give everything they have. I think that's what you got to ask for these guys, and to be resilient, to continue to come back, because when you face adversity, how you come back from it is what was going to be the measure of the person. So that's what we're looking at. We got to come back strong.
You mentioned that you have a respect for Coach Dorn. He's been there for a while. He's had a lot of success. What are the calling cards of his team?
Well, he's always played good defense. I think obviously he's a defensive-minded coach, and they're structurally sound on defense. The kids play hard on that side of the ball. So you're going to get that. They want to be a physical football team. They want to be that blue-collar, tough-minded football team. And I think that's what they want to be. Again, when you're playing so many young guys with so many injuries, they've put themselves in the last couple of weeks in bad spots with turnovers. Against Clemson, they're backed up. They had a lot of short fields early in that game. Next thing you know, it's out of control. So that those things can't happen, obviously. So I think we know what we're going to get from those guys. You're going to get a hard blue-collar team that's going to play hard and coach well. And we got to go in the game expecting they're going to play their best game. That's how you have to go into it if you're playing against those guys.
Saturday, Gigi had said something in the sense that he didn't even like that people were hyping the team up that much. Did you feel like the team plays a little bit better when they have a chip on the shoulder?
Well, I don't know. I think when everybody has that mindset that you're going to perform better. I think that's anybody. If you have that underdog mindset that you got to go out and try to perform, improve something every single time you step on a court, a field, anywhere, I think you perform better. Absolutely. Now, yeah, no matter who you are, you can look at all the champions out there. That if you think you've arrived, that's when you're going to get beat. And I think, for us at this team, we certainly have not arrived. I mean, we know we've got a lot of work to do, a lot of deficiencies that need to get better. So, but I think you coming off of the stretch we had there in October, people are patting you on the back because they didn't think you'd be this good or win this many games, and hopefully guys didn't buy into that. I mean we've lost too many games to buy into any of that mess. So we got to continue to get better and a long ways to go.
Scott, through that the other night, you said there were some bright spots, and Hawkins was one of those. Can you just kind of speak on how he continues to keep getting better and better and running harder and harder?
Yeah, well, I think what we do want to do, we want to run the football. We all know that, and that's a mindset that we have offensively. Hawkins runs hard. We continue to give him the ball. And he makes plays for us. And then Hassan Hall come in and had a nice touchdown run on him. I think it was before that fourth down, right? And so we feel like really both of those bats can give us a lot in the running game. And Hawkins, again, he's not a big guy, but he runs like he's a big guy. But he's also, when he takes it, past the line of scrimmage, he can take it big runs after that. So yeah, we're excited about that. Tutu Atwell had another big game. I mean, he's having an all-conference type season so far. Big play guy for offensively, and seems like every week, he's taking one to the house. So I mean, we have some guys that we think that can change the game with offensively, and we got to continue to give them the ball.
When Tutu was out towards the end, Keon Wakefield made some plays. We hadn't seen a ton of him. Is he a guy down the road that you feel pretty good about?
Well, we hope so. I mean, he's practiced well. He's played quite a bit, just hadn't been targeted as much. Tutu goes out and he gets a few opportunities, make the most of it, make some big plays for us. He's not as fast as Tutu, but he's got really good hands. He can move the chains. So hopefully he'll continue to get better and better. And that a game like this, where he was able to show what he can do, hopefully it'll give him some confidence.
Coach, when you looked at film defensively, what stood out to you that maybe surprised you that you didn't see Saturday, or what might have been worse than it was until Saturday?
Well, I mean, just the fact that we didn't get as much pressure as you'd like. And a part of that is that they're getting rid of the football pretty quickly. So the things that we got to do a lot better is closing down on receivers, making the quarterback have to hold the ball a little bit longer, because there's times we got some hits on the quarterback, but then the ball's gone. Right as he's throwing it. And Miami had been a team that had given up a lot of sacks. I think we sacked him one time. So if you're in those throwing lanes where he's got to hold it just half a second more, then we're able to get to him. And I think that changes the game right there. So we got to do a lot better job, closing down coverages. Too many times we got guys running free, and that's happened. That's been a problem this whole season, quite frankly.
Are those physical issues or mental issues?
I think it's both. I think they're both. We had some mental bust, whether not proper alignment pre-snap. If you're supposed to be an inside shade, if I'm a corner and I'm outside, you just open it up for the bender or the post. I should have been a little bit more tighter. And then some of it is ability, where these guys, we're playing, everybody's got a guy that can run, that really fast. And so if you're out of position a little bit, you don't have the ability to catch up. And so some of that's that. So, that's, again, something we work on every week. We're trying to get better at it. Obviously, we're still not there yet.
I believe Clemson's clinched the division title now, what, 5th year in a row. How big is the gap between them and everybody else, and how long will it take for teams to close it?
Seems like it's pretty big. It's at least 35 points a game bigger than everybody else. It seems like every time you turn the score on, Saturday night they won by 35 or 40, and they're not. And in the fourth quarter, the starters are not playing. Which is incredible, really. I mean, it's what they've been able to accomplish there. They have so many great players. They're coached well. They're top 4 in the country in offense and defense, maybe top 3. Offensively, I think they're number 2 in the country. Defense, maybe number 3. So when you have the top offense and defense in the country, you're going to be hard to beat. And they're, and I think this league, everybody else is very competitive. From the rest of the guys, there's a clear number 2. There's obviously not in this league right now, but it just shows you how much better Clemson is than everybody else. That gap's pretty good gap, I think. And people want to write and say that the ACC is not as good, but I think there's a lot of solid teams in the ACC. I really do. But Clemson's just they're at another level. They're at the level with the LSU's, the Alabamas that played this weekend. They're at that level. When you go through a whole season, you don't have to play your starters the whole time. That's pretty impressive what they've been able to accomplish.
Scott, now that you're down to these last 3 games here, and you touched on Keon, Marshawn, and other guys get involved, are there some other names that you hope to get involved, especially now that you're at these last point of the year?
Well, like Adonis Boone's a guy who comes to mind, with Kai going out, and, he's played a little bit throughout the season, but a guy like that, you may have to lean on a lot more. Now, he's not the skilled guy that everybody sees, but he's in the trenches there. I think, so those offensive line, there's going to be some guys have to do some things up front, but I think once you get to the point of this season, you're playing the guys that you feel like that need to be playing. Dorian Jones, the guy that we wanted to play these last 4 games, in his very first play, gets hurt, which is a shame. I hate it for him, because he was going to get so much valuable experience in this last month right here. So, we'll see how it goes. If there's anybody else that's going to rise up, but pretty much think who's playing is going to be the guys that are playing right now at this point.
Coach, I don't know how much football you guys have watched after you guys' game Saturday, but obviously App State beat South Carolina. You saw a lot of people over there. Just what are your thoughts on them beating both South and North Carolina this year?
Yeah, well, I think, as I stated earlier, we were the 3rd youngest team in the country last year, so all those guys were back. And so I felt, you got to feel like they were going to be good this year. It's still hard to go into North Carolina and win, go into South Carolina and win. Things have to go your way, so they had a pick 6. And they only had 200 yards of offense, and they still won. You find a way to win. And so, just proud of those guys. Continue, it's been a big year for them. And all those guys that, we coached are making big plays, so it's not surprising. They have a great opportunity to probably end up winning that conference and still potentially go to a New Year's Six bowl. There's still a lot of ball to be played left.